Today's topic are adjectives and adverbs. And relying on Norwegian can be very helpful. There are many similar words, there are many similar rules. However, sometimes it makes things more difficult. And this is one of the things, unfortunately. I have already mentioned adjectives and adverbs in one of the first lectures in this course, and I gave you some examples of how to use them. And today we are going to look closer at both adjectives and adverbs and some of the problems Norwegian speakers often have with them. And you can see that adjectives can be very different and it's a very big group. You can have tall and ugly and obedient, original, custom-made, disappointing, unusual. You can have very many different adjectives, and you can also make them up. For example, you have a table that's very good to sit on, so you have a chair-like table. Chair-like is an adjective I just made up. And adverbs are very similar in this way. You have very many adverbs. Some of them resemble adjectives. For example, wide, widely, poor, poorly, responsible, responsibly. But they can have different meanings, and they are definitely used in different places. So what is the problem? I will start with Norwegian here because it's Norwegian that's creating the confusion. So in Norwegian, if you have a feminine or a masculine noun and you want to add an adjective, it looks like this. Det var ei høy jente, det var en høy gutt. You use høy, it's an adjective. And you don't really think about it. You don't think whether it's feminine or masculine because you just know, it's your language. But when it comes to neuter nouns and adjectives, all of a sudden you have det var et høyt hus. Both høy and høyt are adjectives. And then we come to verbs plus adverbs. Kvinnen lo høyt. All of a sudden, høyt is an adverb. It looks exactly like this adjective above it, but it's not the same thing. And you do it all correctly. I make many mistakes here in my Norwegian, but you do it correctly because you feel what's right. However, in English, it's the problem, because in English, we don't have gender on nouns, so all nouns plus adjectives look like this. The loud man upstairs is driving me nuts. Or they owned a loud parrot. Loud is an adjective. With verbs and adverbs, she laughed loudly. Now loudly is an adverb, and we can clearly see it is not the same as the adjective. So the take-home message here is that where you put t onto a Norwegian adjective to make an adverb, it is not necessarily the same way in English. Sometimes you can put ly on an adjective and you get an adverb, but not everywhere where you put t, you should put ly. So let's look more closely at the adjectives. They describe a thing, and they're usually between the article and the noun. So the tall girl, a loud car, an annoying habit, an unusual ring, and so on. Adjectives can also follow some verbs. For example, be, become, get, look, seem. This is a special type of verb which can be followed by an adjective. For example, she was tall, the car is loud, the habit gets annoying, your ring seems unusual, and so on. But these adjectives still describe the noun that's the subject, so they are still somehow connected to the noun and not a verb. Adverbs, on the other hand, describe an action, and they describe a verb. They very often talk about time, place, or manner of the action. Drive fast, chew loudly, think quickly, and so on. And adverbs can also describe adjectives or other adverbs. The first two, very quickly or quite loudly, are describing other adverbs, while extremely smart and annoyingly precise, these two adverbs, extremely and annoyingly, are describing other adjectives. But the important thing is here that adverbs never describe nouns. Adjectives describe nouns, adverbs describe verbs. There is one more thing which you need to keep in mind when it comes to adjectives and nouns, adjectives and adverbs, is that in Norwegian, adjectives are very freely turned into nouns. We can say det viktige at vi ikke provoserer dem. Den skadede ble liggende I grøfta. You can just use the adjective and use it in a sentence as a noun. But it does not normally work that way in English without the noun. So if you want to say the same thing in English, you would have to say the important thing is that we do not provoke them. The wounded man, person, passenger was left lying in the ditch. You cannot just say the important is that we do not provoke them. That would not work and it would not be understood. So you have to keep that in mind, that you will need the noun after the adjective. However, there are two exceptions, as always. If you are referring to a group of people, you can use an adjective, but you have to remember the plural verb, because it's a group, it cannot be one person. The blind need help. Blind is the group of people who lost or don't have eyesight, need help, and it's a plural verb. You cannot say this about one person. You would have to say the blind man needs help. And the second one, the rich are not always aware of the needs of the poor. Again, rich as a general term, the group of people who are rich, and we use the plural verb are. And if we are referring to a general abstract idea, we can also do this. We can say the supernatural is an interesting topic or attractive topic. Or I just want the best for you. So these are the two cases where we can use adjectives as nouns. In all the other cases, you need to add the noun as well. However, there are also some more confusing cases here, which I will mention very shortly. Adjectives with ly as an ending. Some adjectives look like adverbs even though they are not. For example, friendly, daily, monthly, and so on. We can say Mary is a very friendly person. We can use it in a typical adjective-like way between the article and the noun, and it's an adjective. Or this is our monthly newsletter. It's again an adjective. Then we have adverbs without ly, and these are still adverbs even though they don't have ly. For example, often, very, late, near, and so on. I come here often. Often is describing the verb come. Or he arrived late. Late is describing the verb arrived. And now we have adjectives and adverbs which look completely identical, but they are of course used in different ways. For example, hard, fast, long, and so on. And here are some examples. He drives fast. It's an adverb because it's describing the manner he drives. While he is a fast driver, it's an adjective because it describes the driver. You have to work hard. It's an adverb, describes the way you have to work. And it's a hard task. It's a difficult task. It describes the task. Or I come here daily. It's the frequency with which I come here. Or that's an adverb. And FNN is a daily newspaper. It's an adjective that describes the newspaper. And now we're going to look at the exercise whether you can get this correct.